Good morning. It is Wednesday, and I was just scrolling Instagram this morning and seeing some of our ads. I know you could see that. That's not how I thought I set it up to be, so I think I'm going to have to go in and adjust that at some point here. Look at this desk. Just like covered in things. I used to be better than this. Never have tolerated a desk that looked like this. Check our Facebook campaigns, see how they're doing.
It can't blast off.
Oh, we're missing, or is it stuck?
No.
It's missing? I think I saw it yesterday. I think it was there yesterday, so I don't think it's very far away. All right, our top performing ad is this one, but I kind of feel like that's probably the ad I saw this morning. And it did not look like that. So, you guys want to come up with stairs with me to go water the microgreens?
No.
No, you guys are going to stay down here. Leland, are you going to come with me? Should we go upstairs? What? Are you coming? So Wednesday means the last water for these, and I'm also going to check my germinating trays and see if they're ready to put out underneath lights. It all looks like it could use maybe another day or so, but I also feel like it's maybe drying out a little bit, so I'm just going to mist it and get it wet again. Oh yeah? Let's go get breakfast. One of the reasons that we end up often starting our day so late is that breakfast is like, I don't know, has become a really important time in our family life, especially for me and Jill. Like all of us eat together. The kids sit down with us. What are you doing back there, Trevor? And one of the reasons for that is that it's kind of, neither Jill or I are like really like morning people, but at this, yeah. So we're not really the most awake in the morning, but at the same time, we find it to be true that your creative juices are the strongest in the morning. And so what ends up happening is that we just inevitably end up brainstorming. Something comes up and we end up doing these really in-depth brainstorms in the morning. Oh, I wonder if my card's full. That'd be wild. 4, 3. All right, let's see here. All right, we're back. Emptied the card, took half an hour, and there's chaos in the background as the children do their morning routine, which is folding laundry. More. Apparently it's not their favorite because they find lots of ways to be distracted. So where was I? I was saying, oh yeah, these mornings are really important to us because in some ways they feel really inefficient, but they are where all our really good brainstorming happens around the table after or during and then flowing out of breakfast. We have all these brainstorms. And not only do we like set the intention for the day and kind of make our plan. So for example, we're talking about when are we going to be working on this fort in the closet and when are we going to be updating the ads. We decided that we are going to be harvesting on Thursday, so that'd be a really good opportunity to get some new creative, maybe take some video of us harvesting and take some pictures of new packages of the microgreens. And then I could update it on Friday and then I'll go into the weekend where I don't have to look at it and we can see how it does. So
set it and forget it kind of thing.
Yeah, set it and forget it. So we did that, but then we also had this other bigger brainstorm. One of the things that At
I
the
was gonna say,
yeah.
like one of the things with the brainstorm that I feel like is super important every day is that it just sets expectations. Like especially when you're living and working and doing everything together, it's really easy. Like where I think a lot of conflict or arguments or things end up happening is that there's different expectations that you have and they just weren't communicated. And so one of the things that's really important about doing the breakfast together is it's just that reminder of the expectation for the day. Because we'll often talk about the plan for the week or even like before bed, okay, what's kind of the plan for tomorrow? But I think just getting up again in the morning and just both saying, okay, what are you thinking about doing? What, and then like they'll say, what am I thinking about doing? What is the important things for you to get done? And then we're aware of each other of just going, okay, if you get these things done, then you'll be happy with the day. If I get these things done, I'll be happy with the day. So it also helps us just to be able to kind of like be aware of each other when we look and go, oh, you're trying to work on that. I'll take the kids for a minute, or, oh, I'll just start on supper so you can finish that up or whatever, right? Like it kind of helps us to kind of fill in the gaps for each other when to
Just
try to
know
help
what's
each
going
other get
on.
their
Yeah.
goals and know what's going on at the beginning of the day. And sometimes things come up and go, oh yeah, I forgot we need to do this too. So it just helps us to get on the same page, expectations, and I think really eliminates a lot of tension or unnecessary like arguments or feeling frustrated because we know each other's doing and we can kind of try to help each other have wins for the day.
Yeah, even with this microgreen stuff, like so much of it is mental and planning and
Mm-hmm.
strategizing. Okay, what are we going to do? What's the best thing? That those times to actually just like work together on the problem, mull through things that are happening in life is really important. One of these vlogs, I'm going to find a way to actually like vlog us doing
A
these
brainstorm.
brainstorms. But even though they happen like almost every single day,
Mm-hmm.
they're actually spontaneous. They're just spontaneous on rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't always know when they're going to happen and how where we don't know where they're going. They're fairly unplanned. So
Often I feel like they end up starting as either something that we are planning for the day or the week, or it's like I think often I'll come to you with something I'm just like thinking over and just being
yeah,
like just in the week or the day, or like you'll put a podcast on in the morning or listen to a speaker or just something we're working through and I'll be like, hey, this is a part something we're reading in our devotions or whatever, and just say, hey, this is something I'm thinking about. How does this work in life? And you're just kind of really
yeah,
chewing on it together, I
yeah. So
guess,
one
and
of those
thinking through
things
it.
was at the event on Monday night.
Mhm.
We one of the speakers there was just talking about kind of how our economic situation in the West and in the world right now, and how it looks like we're headed for some sort of monetary reset. Might be a term that you've heard before. One of the things that kind of was cooking around in your brain is he was saying and talking about how wealth doesn't disappear;
Mhm.
it just transfers
Mhm.
to something else.
That was a really big statement of like hope for me because sometimes you think, oh, like you think of the Great Depression or you think of like hard times of recessions and you think, oh, the money that disappears or it's like what you've worked for disappears. And it's like, no, it actually doesn't disappear. It just transfers to the thing that is meeting people's needs. And I thought that was just really huge because then you start going, what is going to meet people's needs? And
Yeah,
that's where the wealth is going to transfer. It's going to go away from more of the wants and it's going to go more to the needs. And being in the space where you're meeting real people's needs, that's where the wealth is going to transfer to. And I don't know, there was a lot of discussion to be had
yeah.
around
So
that.
we were kind of working through that, and one of the things he said in addition to that was that um, what he foresees in a time of those transitions can be a little bit turbulent, and a lot of people are gaining wealth, and a lot of people are losing wealth, and so things can be kind of shaky economically, and so the the Great Depression is one of those times. That's one of those things that he was saying they happen every 80 to 100 years, which I've heard before. Seems to check out historically. So one of the last ones that almost is out of living memory now, but it was the Great Depression, and the industries and the businesses that tend to do really well and succeed in those types of scenarios are the ones that focus on basic human needs. So food, clothing, shelter. And we're just like, oh, that's interesting. We're working on a food business, something that's providing, um, yeah, sustenance, nutrition for the local community. So we might be set up pretty good for that scenario. And interestingly, we also really have these. We got these passions, these kind of in the background things. I don't you'd call them like skills or
Passions.
yeah,
Or,
yeah, passions, desires, just things that are in our mind that won't go away, but we're not sure how to utilize fully yet.
I would say that there are things that we do, like even in terms of our downtime and date time, where we'll find ourselves looking at stuff or just
Yeah,
just analyzing, and like I don't know, both of us are just we kind of almost sometimes default to them, just even in our free time of like
yeah,
talking.
and we love aesthetic, um, and design, and so one of those dreams in our mind is we always are bringing up is like, man, it'd be fun to do a clothing business, a clothing brand,
Yeah,
right? So that's the clothing
like
part.
good
Yeah,
clothes, not just like cheap T-shirts with
we're so frustrated and dissatisfied with pretty much
cheap
everything.
T-shirts with like
We're so picky.
green prints on them. You know, like yeah.
But even that is like the fabric matters, the cut matters, the way the drape of fabric. Like I get really snobbish and and nerdy about clothing and fabric and
Like I basically just shop for clothing in the fall because I'm so picky about color palette, and
yeah.
that's
There's
the
like one time a year that you're somewhat happy with clothing,
like I'm
right?
like, okay, it's time to shop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
totally.
um, yeah. So in that is going, man, it would be nice to solve that problem that we feel like we have and help and just provide that for other people. So that's interesting. That lines up with that food, clothing, shelter. And then the other bit is that we love
Interior design and
interior design, architecture. One of my dreams since I was, I don't know, I remember being like probably when I was 12 or 13 or something. I remember driving in the car with my dad and just saying, he was kind of like, what do you want to do with your life? For whatever reason, because I was expressing, he didn't usually just ask me that question. It's not our favorite question in the world as a family, just because of the implications of some of the things where that goes. But I was expressing this angst, and so he was like, okay, so like, what do you want to do then? What do you want to do with your life? And I was like, I want to build cities. Like, I want.
you have such a dream at some point to be able to do a development and actually be able to design the community and the
Yeah,
culture.
the community and the homes. Like,
Yeah.
there's a statement that's always stuck with me is, and I can't. I've heard it sourced from different people, so I'm not sure who actually said it, but is that we design homes, we design architecture, and then the architecture designs us. And so I see just all this power in creating culture through architecture and through interior design. And
Well, because it affects how the family lives in the home.
yeah, the everything, yeah, the way
Culture and the
a
dynamic of the home.
town or a neighborhood is laid out, and the homes that are in, what are they designed to do? What do they make easy? What do they make difficult? And they shape how we move and live and the way we think. And so I just see, I get really excited about that stuff. I would love to do that, but right now that's just not a realistically in our means at the moment. But I
Even
have
in our
this hope.
skill set, there's more learning,
Yeah.
growing to do. Yeah.
And so I've got this hope that down the road, that we could do that. The other thing is that Jill loves to sketch and doodle and brainstorm. Do you want to show them your brainstorm
Oh,
book
I'm
just
ready.
as an example of what she does? So after the brainstorm, then she's like, okay, I got to go. I'll write all this down. So the other thing that we kind of have this passion for, like we're getting clarity on what this, we kind of have, we got us, like I've always had a strong idea of what God's wanted from me in my life, but yet at the same time I've lacked a lot of clarity on it. And so we're starting to get closer. And one of those things is families and creating economic stability for families, helping to transform and like reintegrate the family and position the family.
businesses, right? Like
Yeah, position the family in a good place.
bringing the dads back home to do business with
Yeah, yeah,
the family, like real life together.
yeah. Reconnecting husbands and wives and reconnecting the generations, and one of the things that's required for that, I think, in a lot of ways, is as a good economic situation. And I have a book. I'll show you the statistic that blew my mind in a minute if you hang on. But
Now I'm curious. Wait, which book?
but
What statistic?
it was just one little blip in the. I haven't even read the whole book. It was just in the beginning. But so one of those things in that mission, so I see these businesses, and it's like I don't know where they're going. I see the potential for them to grow. I see the potential for Eden's Hearth to grow crazy, and I don't know whether what model that's gonna take. But one of the ideas we have in that even is franchising, and specifically gearing the franchising to enable families to create a freedom business so that they can then go on to create different new scale businesses and legacy businesses that will bless their community, bless their town, and create a strong multi-generational foundation for them. Anyway, so show us your
So this is,
doodles here.
This is the brainstorm book where it's basically like Dallas paces and I write it down. He gets his ideas out. So this was a meme that we found at one point. I can't remember who it was by, but I had to put this on. I always put something on that's like just kind of, I don't know, reminder. So we're not doing this because it's easy. We're doing this because we didn't know how hard it would be when we started. And this one always said like we would laugh if we didn't want to cry. But
Because it is so true. Because constantly,
So
we would have been too afraid to start many things that we started. I wouldn't have had the courage. But we're doing it now, and now we're committed. So
these are all dreams.
we're better off for it.
But dreams, I don't know. I find you write them down. Who knows what God's going to do with them? Who knows where they're going to go? I find already we're pivoting all the time. So they're just dreams and ideas that get put on the paper. They're super messy.
We don't hold them too tightly. But
and it's often very active
very
in terms
helpful.
of the brainstorm. But this was our brainstorm this morning. Top secret brainstorm.
there we go. Yeah.
The idea that we were talking about was wealth doesn't disappear, it transfers. And the three basic needs: food, clothing, shelter. And then there were different ideas as far as passions we feel like God's given us in terms of meeting each of those needs in different ways. And then the idea where we started going with the sense of the YouTube channel is the idea of that moving to the sense where we're living it out as we're trying things. Whether we ever start these, I have no idea. But these are just brainstorm ideas to percolate on. And so right now we're able to do the food, the microgreens, and we're starting to vlog them on our YouTube channel. Maybe someday we'll be vlogging some of these other stuff. And then ultimately, the goal is like building a strong home culture and strengthening families in what we're doing. And then you had that sense where you talked about before is essentially if you could build these businesses where you got them stable enough, you could franchise them out so that people can then take those and start with a strong freedom business to be able to pursue their legacy, right? Business.
Yeah, and hopefully through these businesses, it's not just like us making an income for ourselves or getting rich, or that'd be wonderful. But we're not there yet for sure. But it's more about the bigger vision, and they need to line up and empower the larger mission, which is re-empowering the family and creating freedom for the family, not as an ends, but as like a tool to reintegrate the family and strengthen it and make it good again and what it ought to be.
And that's part of the dream with the vlogs too, is just kind of a little bit of showing how we're living life a little bit more, so that maybe it gives people ideas as far as how you could integrate, especially if you haven't been working and living, if everybody's been going different directions, if you haven't been working and living life together, it can be very hard to all come together and be on the same page. So kind of living out 11 years of doing everything together, and what we've learned and lessons we've learned and how we do it. And yeah.
Okay. So this book, real quick, like that's not like just sharing this to I don't know, hopefully inspire a little bit, because I mean, the general advice is don't tell people what you're going to do. Do it and then talk about it. We haven't done any of that. It may never happen. We got a lot to learn.
This is the whole point. This is the whole point of the brainstorm book, right? There's a lot of ideas that go down. Most of them are never going to happen, or they're not necessarily like what you should be doing. But the idea is it's just getting it out without criticism or judgment, of just getting it out on a piece of paper without criticism or judgment, just letting your mind flow, and the dreams come, and some might happen and some might not, and maybe it doesn't even come close to what the original, who knows. But I think this is one of those things in that brainstorm book you were talking about the other day that we're doing, is like just getting things out without judgment or criticism, and just letting the dream go, no matter how crazy or big it seems, just letting it go and see where you end up.
which is very helpful.
How's Daddy gonna get down? You?
Yeah, make all the people nervous. This is why you're watching. I can talk. This is like the hook. Okay, so this data blew me away. So this is Kevin Swanson's book called Freedom. So he shows that how wealth has been distributed through different portions of history. So before the Reformation, which is, what was that, 500-ish AD. So before the Reformation, through much of history, essentially wealth was distributed about 4 to 5% of wealth in the world or in a nation was owned by the state. Only 4 to 5%. That's a really low number. The church controlled about 30% of the wealth in a nation, which is why the papacy and the Catholic Church were so powerful in the Dark Ages. And then the family owned the remaining. It was controlled by families. So families controlled 65% of the wealth in a nation. After the Reformation, the state controlled 10%. So we went from 5 to 10. The church controlled 5 to 10%. So they lost control of about 20% to 25% of the wealth. And the family went to 80%. So families controlled 80% of the wealth. So the Reformation gave power to the state, removed power from the church. Now, interesting, both 10% there, those are both biblical numbers. So they went to a biblical standard, and that allowed the families were way better off because they controlled 80%. And then, whereas today, the state owns approximately 50% of the wealth in the world. The church owns 2 to 3% of the wealth in a nation, and the family families control less than 50%. And I think you could see that this number is shifting. It's getting worse. So today, the state is more powerful and more wealthy than ever. Like, every time you hear somebody talk about a wealth gap, the wealth gap between corporations and individuals, they're saying corporations are just getting wealthier and wealthier and wealthier. And I saw a lot of statistics during COVID of how corporations were taking more and more of the wealth from society, and people were controlling less and less. But corporations typically are still owned by families. But the number we're not talking about is that state number. That state number is like a hidden shift. And as we're fighting between ourselves over this wealth gap, the real wage wealth gap is going to the state. The state is becoming wealthier and wealthier and wealthier over time and taking more and more control. Anyway, so part of the mission is to return that wealth to where it's better suited, which is in families, and that will empower families. And to do that, though, we need to be able to do things economically. We need to have businesses and stuff. Anyway, I just think that's really cool. That's me nerding out, I guess. But so this morning, the kids hopefully
Have sorted up.
They have not done an amazing job with their clothing. So we need to get them to do that. Then we're going to put up the platform. Okay, let's go do that. The top sits at exactly 6 feet, so we'll do this first.
You guys,
How's that
come
feel?
over here in case.
Great. I'm so proud.
Is that gonna be a good secret hideout?
Yeah, Blaze is never finding me up here.
I'll have to duck a little, but it's actually not too bad.
And the kids can sit up there. They're not gonna be able to stand, obviously, but they can sit. So
6:22, and it's been a reasonably productive day. Jill's just fixing supper. You worked on taxes, is that what you did?
well, getting the books ready. Yeah.
The book's ready for taxes, so that's always a big job, and so that was a good win, I think.
Oh yeah, that was good.
And on the fortress, the kids, specifically the boys, have just been absolutely loving it all day long. It's a bit of a disaster in here, my cleanliness, but then topped with a bunch of children and little guys making additional mess. Yeah. All right, Traveling
I got that hat.
and Kate and Boy, show us what's going on in here. What happened? What got done today? That piece there. So we got the platform in. We got the drywall on the roof or on the ceiling. What else?
We did the secret hideout, and it's my space. And
Wait.
my space.
We got a good start on the secret hideout. We got kind of the bottom framed in. We got a floor in there. We got some of the drywall in. And what else? You guys have been busy decorating, hey? So that took most of the day. For the ladder stairs, I've got the angle pieces cut. We just need to notch them out. I didn't actually think I'd get to that today, so that's great. That was a good day's progress. I think I'm gonna try and do a little bit of sweeping up in here. The kids are excited to actually be able to screw in some drywall, which they'll be able to do tomorrow. Are you practicing painting? They're excited to paint. Tomorrow was harvest day, so the afternoon we'll be harvesting. Probably that's all we'll get to. Pretty good progress in there. Definitely lots to do yet, but he's dumped screws all over the floor. So I need to sweep those up and get them all into a pile before too many people step on them or we get too many more scratches on the floor, because that's definitely been a thing. What are you doing? Don't be messing up my pile.